Hey, what's up guys? So we're back with more Warhammer 40k content. If you're new to welcome. We're back with another video by Warrior Tier. So shout out and credit goes to Warrior Tier for the video. And this one's called The Story of, I hope I'm saying this correctly, ROGAL DORN. I don't know who that is or anything like that, so I'm going into this completely blind. But knowing like who, I mean not knowing who, but I mean the fact that every single video that Warrior Tier has done so far is amazing, like the narration, the music, and also the images. Even though I go into this completely blind, I'm very excited to see what I'm see and listen to the video. God, I mixed up like two different sentences. I'm sorry about that. So without anything else, let's just jump right into it. Warrior Tier presents The Story of ROGAL DORN. Vox and the Void. Oh yeah, Vox and the Void. I remember him. Gotta check out more videos from him too.
I was there. Unholy terror. I was there when we almost fell. I am here to see you all rise. I have seen 1,000 times before.
Oh, the Imperial
The names
Fists.
will be engraved on golden plates as old as our homeworld. The names you bore before your ascension to the ranks of our hallowed brotherhood are gone. Now, you will take a new name, as I did. I chose Loyalist. I chose Puritan. And I chose human. Not for us, the witch burnings of the Black Templars. Not for us, the wrath of the righteous angel. No. We are the excoriators. Second founding.
A chainsword and it looks like a broadsword on the
We
left.
were led by ROGAL DORN himself.
Oh, ROGAL DORN. Okay.
My name is Demetrius Catafalca. You have earned, through blood and pain, the right to stand here.
Damn, look at his
And I
armor.
walked these halls long before his disappearance. The organs were played here for 12 millennia. The song is that of history, hope, and honor. My brother and friend, Dorn, knew the truth. You too will learn it, here and now. When Dorn was cast into the warp by the Vile Ones, he flew through time and space. He landed on a dead world, a cold world. He landed on the blasted, hateful waste.
So I guess this is about his survival.
And it offers then when it offers today. Nothing.
Wow.
Nothing, save its people. Ferocious and proud warriors to a man. Their cunning in negotiations, outdone only by their cunning with the blade. But only the Stoics survive such a world. A world filled with apex predators.
Wolves?
Locked in a killing embrace by its almost dead star. If the cold doesn't get you, the beast will.
Oh, what's the
Every
beast?
moment on that world is a war, and one must become an enemy of the world in order to survive. And one must learn how to cut what is costly.
What is that thing?
Save the whole. You must learn the traits that came to define my brother Dorn. You must become stoic, cold, and honest no matter the brutality of the situation. You must understand that the truly difficult decisions must be made, or all will fail. You must be able to bear that weight. And what a terrible weight you came to bear. Inward grew long before the Emperor came to be. This is not heresy, it is fact. The men and women bred by that cold...
Hey, wait, that right there.
This is not heresy, it is fact.
Question is, how many people will see it that way? How many people will see it as a fact, but how many people will see it as heresy? I'm willing to bet that a lot more people are going to see it as heresy.
The men and women bred by that cold, pragmatic world led legions, built starships and conquered under their own banner.
Their
It
own
was among
empire.
these proud, noble warrior clans that a young ROGAL Dorn was raised.
Oh, so that's
Just
where
as
he
the
came
world
from.
of Inuit
Yeah.
itself was divided by perpetual night and perpetual day, so became Dorn. The now legendary tactics of ROGAL Dorn were taught in basic form by his adopted grandfather of that world. As Dorn led those ice-born legions forth, he carried with him the lessons he had learned from those clan leaders. Lessons carried forth on the winds of legend by generations of bitter-edged warriors and their kin.
So he's the strategist and the
With
tactician.
age came the refinement of the warrior's art. Dorn forged ships and weapons beyond the imaginations of the Inuit natives. Those ships and weapons were amassed into perfect legions by Dorn when the splinter fleets of the Great Crusade arrived.
Wow, he built that up from the ground up.
40 years after his adopted grandfather's death, Dorn stood as the figurehead of the Inuit legions. His ship, the Phalanx, now a vessel of dread and legend, was the meeting ground between the Emperor and Dorn.
Oh, this is where they meet.
Dorn's loyalty to the Emperor, his devotion to justice and righteousness, was wrought in iron from the first moment. The meeting aboard the Phalanx. The Emperor introduced the Astartes to Dorn. 1,000 soldiers who came to encapsulate the best of his traits. Pragmatic, tactical, and willing to be the last soldier standing, the last rock against the tide. A loyalty and devotion that still resonates through the Imperium to this day. Though Dorn was the 7th of the rediscovered Primarchs.
Oh, he's the
He stood
7th
high
one.
amongst their ranks from the first moment. As time went on, as we carved our place amongst the damned stars, ROGAL Dorn's tale was being forged in blood and steel. So profound was his...
So sorry for pausing, guys. Seeing how the Imperial fists are literally being shown most of the videos so far, I'm willing to bet that he's the Primarch of the Imperial fists. If not, please correct me in the comments below, or maybe it'll show themselves here.
His faith, so unfaltering his loyalty, that to this day, on Blessed McCrag stands a statue of your Gene father, shoulder to shoulder with his brother Gilliman. That statue still stands today.
Praetorian.
Crowned by an iron halo, forged from the fragments of 1,000 blades from 1,000 worlds.
Wow, look at that armor.
Blessed are those souls who journey to see such a hallowed statue. Blessed are those who kept the memory of my best friend alive to this day. Have you ever heard the words that ROGAL Dorn spoke to the 300 magistrates? Do not look at us for kindness. Do not look to us for hope. We are the rocks of its foundation. If you wish to hope, then look to what we make. If you wish for kindness, then look at those who will come after us. Do you understand? Do you see the burden that he carried, even in those early days? The Imperial Fists do not forget. We do not forget the sacrifices of the humans on Terra. We, the excoriators, bear the weight of the sins of mankind. We bear the fists of Dawn,
Excoriators.
just as the descendants do. We remain stoic, proud, and defiant. Though long gone are our days of waiting for war. We do not build as
Hey,
Dawn
orcs.
built. We fight as Dawn fought. His brother Russ described him as swift and unforgiving as the falling edge of an axe. Beneath that stone shell that Dorn wore raged a permanent storm. He was consumed by the need to perform his duty and the need to be human.
So it sounds like ROGAL Dorn, it has like undying and devoted and just like loyalty to the Emperor, but at the same time he's trying to like not just be like a obedient, what's the right word, like a obedient war machine, he also wants to show that there's still humanity and he's still a person. So it sounds like he's trying to like balance out between the two.
A need which our Gene brothers often forgot. For if anyone's heart has ever broken, Dorn's heart broke when hearing of Horror's betrayal. I was there. I heard the words of Garrow and the other survivors of the butchery of Isfahan III. I'll never forget that day. So long ago, aboard the Phalanx, after we saved the Eisenstein from the clutch of the warp, Commander Garrow of the Death Guard had told ROGAL DORN, told all of us in fact, of the butchery, the depravity. And when he proclaimed Commander Garrow a traitor, Garrow saved us all, for he was aboard the Eisenstein. He had seen firsthand the barbarism, and he escaped to tell of the sights. Dorn raised his voice for the first time, and the room shook with it.
What did he say?
What you come to me with? A convoluted story of treachery and conspiracy amongst the Emperor's sons?
I know this is difficult to accept.
Difficult? I do not know what to make of you, Garrow. You carry yourself like an honest man. But if you are not a traitor and a deceiver, then you can only be possessed by insanity. Garrow heard the sound of blood rushing in his ears. Everything was going wrong, falling apart around him.
Damn, those are some words.
Look at me when I speak to you, Death God.
Damn, look at him.
The lies you bring into my personal chambers, they sicken and disgust me. That you would dare to say such things about a hero of such matchless character as my brother, Horus.
This is where the divide comes in.
My capability for description. How cheap you must hold your integrity to give up so easily. I weep for Mortarion. The only reason I do not rip you limb from limb for your defamation is that I know my brothers will reserve this pleasure for themselves. Garrow felt the decking turn to mud beneath his boots, but he found the strength to carry on.
Are you blind?
What did you say to me?
I asked if you were blind, Lord, because I fear you must be. Only one struck by such a terrible ailment could be as you are. Yours is the blindness that only a brother might have, that of a keen judgment, clouded by admiration and respect. Clouded by your love for your kinsman.
Dorn broke. Before I could blink, his blade was in his hand, roaring instantly to life. Get to your knees and accept your death while you still have the chance to die like an Astartes.
Damn, Dorn.
We believed that was the moment when Dorn would lose his composure. I know I did. But Keela, that legendary remembrancer, saved Garrow's life. The pain in her voice, the raw human emotion, it stopped Dorn's blade from striking Garrow down. She had captured proof of the heresy, scenes of depravity, barbarism, betrayal. She saved Garrow's life, and who can even guess how many more?
Well done.
You know why I told you that? Do you see where the fury of the Black Templars comes from? Dorn's doubt. His only weakness was the truest gift of mankind. Love. He loved his brother of mankind.
Bro, you could literally spot this armor more than a mile away because it is so shiny. Then you could literally see it far in the distance.
Kind. Love. He loved his brothers, especially Horus. That rage came to be the main characteristic of so many of his fervent sons. Sons born from his gene seed. Well, that wrath has always been there. A wrath shared by his Huskarls. Those sainted bodyguards, made by Dorn himself. They alone know the depths of Dorn's pain. They alone knew the tales of the man. And I cannot say if their tales still live on. But the legacy is strong. Every world that an Imperial fist visits, each stone raised in defense of the Imperium, each shell loaded with malicious intent, They all bear the legacy of Dorn's stoicism, the legacy of his belief in mankind.
Well, that's a
Who
cool
else?
image right there.
Who else but Dorn's first sons could have weaseled out the traitorous 20th?
20.
Who else but the first Captain Archimus would have been bold enough to lead an attack against the 20th's own Primarch? The Alpha Legion believed themselves untouchable and genius. Far more genius than anyone else. It was their arrogance that saw their assaults on Pluto fail. It was Dorn's lack of arrogance that saw him succeed. It was Alfarius' overconfidence that saw him dead at Dorn's feet. I believe more of Dorn broke that day, being forced to exact justice upon another of his brothers. The 20th had murdered so many, had committed acts of terrorism, subversion, and hate. Dorn couldn't forgive that. He couldn't forgive the treachery, the base inhumanity of it all. He struck down Alfarius, killing his own brother.
Oh, so he got
A
him?
terrible cost. A cost that only the strong can bear. It was after this that he and his sons returned to our home, to Terra.
Holy
I will
terror.
not go in detail about every single stone laid in defense of their world. I will, however, do away with the pathetic lie often told about my best friend. Dorn did not gladly hide the arts and
Oh, look at those armors.
Having to hide humanity's achievements behind ferrocrates and plascrates was not a happy chore to him. He knew that in order to ensure humanity's ability to create more works of art, humanity must first survive. So he hid those frescoes and panels of master-crafted gold. He hid those statues and monuments because he knew that to live in the light, one must sometimes prepare to fight in the dark.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna say
A
you
million
have to
and
fight in
more
the
guns
darkness
were
or
raised
something.
in place by Dorn and
Million.
his first sons. But I know that he resented being put in that position. But again, he bore that weight. He knew the cost. As the war spread like a cancer towards Terra, and then eventually onto the very walls of the Sanctum Imperialis itself, Dorn prepared to enact the justice brought by the 20th once more. However, thanks to their schemes of the warp, Dorn and several dozen others were teleported to the wrong end of Horus' ship. They were forced to fight, forced to carve their way to that final, dreadful place.
Hope they had a plan B
Cannot
on how to
imagine
get this,
the
get through
strength
this.
needed to see what he saw. It was Dorn who found Horus, Sanguinius, and the Emperor. The pain of seeing one brother dead and finding your father dying. Who else but ROGAL Dorn could shoulder that terrible, awful, evil weight? It was into Dorn's ear that the Emperor's final words were spoken. No one knows what he said, though many have speculated. It was ROGAL Dorn who carried his father's broken body to the Golden Throne. It was ROGAL Dorn who carried a god, as he had once been carried as a boy on Inward, so very long ago.
ROGAL Dorn has a huge impact, like in the Warhammer 40k universe, and he has a really close connection with the God Emperor himself. I mean, this is the first time I'm actually hearing about him. I mean, the very first Primarch I ever heard of and learned of like in detail was Lion, from the Dark Angels. I forgot his whole name. I think it's Lion Johnson or something like that, but he was the very first Primarch I ever learned, and then later down the road, I learned a few more here and there. Like previously, I did learn about the Primarch of the Space Wolves. Crap, I forgot his name. I'm not really good with name, guys. I'm sorry.
I've heard rumors that atop his dying father, Dorn placed that fur cloak, knowing that with his father's passing, his last vestige of youth had gone. The years after the end of the Great Heresy, now years of conflict, strife, doubt, and guilt. Dorn laid at his own feet the blame for the death of Sanguinius, the Emperor, and billions of humans. Though, it was not his guilt. It was not his lack of action that caused such awful events. After Lord Guilliman ordered all legions to abide by the Codex Astartes, Dorn found a chance to expunge himself of that guilt. He threw himself and his sons into the iron cage. Once again,
Which is fighting all of
another
them?
his brothers had decided to devote his life to slaying the innocent.
I see.
And it was in that trap that Dorn excoriated himself. It was there that from him was bled the guilt of ages past. Each wound, each fallen son, each shot fired into the Iron Warriors broke Rogal from his self-made prison. As he broke from the iron cage, from the cage of his mind.
Man, he looks like he's in rough shape,
Free
yeah.
of guilt, free of regret. The toils and trails of the weeks in the iron cage had remade him. He had been forged in flames of suffering, tempered in the blood of traitors and heroes alike. Dorn was pulled from his iron tomb by Guilliman, for the Lord Regent feared that Dorn was to be killed by the Iron Warriors. And perhaps in his own way, Dorn did want to die. But he lived on. He was free of guilt of the heresy, but he felt keenly each death suffered by his brothers. As more Primarchs fell or faded, so grew his temper, his wrath.
Wait, which
And he believed
Chaos God is this? I don't if you guys know, please, or who this is, please put it down in the comments below. But
so grew his temper.
they got him.
His
They got
wrath.
whoever this is.
Many believe Rogal Dorn to have died by the blades of the First Crusade. Many believe he was simply overcome with grief and surrendered his life. There is no proof of his demise, other than his hand. That skeletal relic,
Oh, that's
scrimshawed
cool.
and venerated by his sons. I do not believe Dorn to be dead. If I have proof of his life, I will not share it. But I have even less proof of his death. I do not think he is dead. I believe that he still brings judgment to the foes of the Imperium, sailing on darker tides at the reaches of his father's galaxy, bearing that weight on shoulders that carry it, shoulders that bear scars from ancient wars. Rogal Dorn lives on in his sons' hearts, lives on in the countless statues and works of art.
He left behind a
Every
legacy.
breaking bolt laid against the foes of humanity is an act of Dorn-like purity. He still lives on, and always will. He is the Imperial Fist, the bulwark, the shield that guards the innocent.
So he is the Primarch
And
with the
you?
Imperial Fist.
All of you hold within you the spark of his anger. You hold within your twin hearts the chill of the winds of Inwit. You bear the legacy of humanity's truest son. Go forth into the dark of the galaxy and spread the truest gift our species has. Spread the blinding light of our Father into the dark. Spread the flame of righteous onto the wretched hives of the villainous. For you are Imperial Fist. You are the mountain that blocks the storm. You are the excoriatus. You expunge from the fabric of reality the weakness of the soul. You forge in the fires of war a blade which carves out the cancer spread by chaos. Go forth and bear my friend's name with pride, for you are the sons of Rogal Dorn. And he lives on.
Okay, that was good. I like this story of Rogal Dorn. So this is what I'm getting from Rogal Dorn. Sounds like he is the most devoted to the Emperor out of everyone, because basically every time they say like every round, every stone, every brick, it has like a Dorn purity and things like that. That means the foundation is going to be built upon like purity and devotion to the emperor, and Dorn was the embodiment of that. I mean, the fact that he was the one to carry the emperor's body to, I mean, the emperor to the throne, that means a lot. That is saying a lot. I mean, it could be any Primarch, but it was him. So that is really cool. I might have to dig into ROGAL DORN more, and also the Imperial Fist. I mean, like I said, the only Space Marine clan I really dug into was the Dark Angels, mostly because of the quiz I took and how I got the Dark Angels and their Primarch as like which Space Marine clan I would fit into, things like that. So either way, this was really great, and like I said, the voice acting is amazing, the images are amazing. Everything is always well done. So shout out and credit goes to Warrior Tier once again. So that's all I got for today, guys. So thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for watching. Hit that notification bell so you know when I drop another video. And also, if you guys have more information about the Imperial Fist or ROGAL DORN or any of the questions I asked during the video, please put it down in the comments below. I really would appreciate it. And also shout out to all my members, subscribers, viewers. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for your support, guys. I really do appreciate it. So without anything else, see you guys next time.